The FDA is reviewing Pfizer's application for a COVID-19 vaccine, but before it does get released here in California, a panel of top doctors and scientists appointed by the governor will do a review of their own. Two of them are from San Diego. And tonight, our ABC 10 News anchor Derek Stahl is going in depth to explain what they'll be looking for.
The governor's 11-member panel has already reviewed Pfizer's early-stage clinical data. Now they're waiting to get their hands on the all-important Phase 3 data, which included thousands of participants. Once they do, they'll have to work very fast. So far, the only people who have seen the fine print on Pfizer's large-scale vaccine trials are the company and members of the FDA. But San Diego doctors Mark Sawyer of Rady Children's Hospital and Rodney Hood of the Multicultural Health Foundation will be among the first members of the public to pour through the details.
I want to look at the data, get an assessment of risk-benefit, and the question I ask is what I'd take, number one. Number two, if I would take it, what I recommend it to my family.
Here's the timeline. The FDA has scheduled a meeting of its Vaccine Advisory Committee on December 10th. The FDA is expected to issue a decision on whether to grant an emergency use authorization shortly after that. If approved, it'll then be up to the governor's Scientific Safety Review Workgroup to issue a recommendation of their own.
The California committee is on notice to be ready for a meeting either later in the day on the 10th or on December 11th. And, it's going to take a few days for the vaccine to really start flowing. I don't think the committee is going to introduce extra delay.
The California committee has promised to issue its decision within 24 hours of the FDA's to avoid slowing down distribution of the vaccine. But that means they may have as few as 3 days to review all the safety and efficacy data. If the FDA grants emergency use authorization, do you envision any scenario where the California Vaccine Safety Panel would reject that authorization?
I think that's very unlikely.
There's always a possibility. I think it's more likely they won't.
Both doctors say they have confidence in the FDA's process, but their task will be to add an extra layer of verification after complaints the Trump administration was putting political pressure on the agency.
I think the governor foresaw that it was going to be very important that the general community accept these vaccines, assuming they're approved and are safe and effective, because otherwise we're not going to get out of this pandemic.
The doctors say they want to make sure that acceptance extends across demographics, so they'll be looking at the numbers closely to see if various racial and ethnic groups had different responses to the vaccine. They'll also be examining the side effects. Early data suggests both Pfizer and Moderna's candidates have harder-hitting short-term side effects than the typical flu vaccine.
Your arm hurts for a day or two. You may feel a little bit under the weather for the first 24 hours. You could even have a mild fever or headache. That's actually a good sign. You want that to happen.
They say those sorts of side effects are evidence the body is building a strong immune response to the vaccine, and it's working well. But they won't know for certain until they review the final numbers. Derek Stahl, ABC 10 News.
And Dr. Sawyer has just been added to the FDA's Vaccine Advisory Committee, so he'll cast a vote on whether to recommend authorization at the national level before the issue moves to California's panel.